Kick-ass facts! Pew, 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 pew! Let me tell you about the Dartmouth scar experiment. 27 men and 21 women were told the experiment was meant to observe if people with facial scars were treated differently. Participants were placed into a room with no mirrors, and a makeup artist drew a scar on their face. After the scar was drawn, participants were given a peek of it in a small mirror. Participants were told they needed to leave the room and interact with people in the building, but before they left, the makeup artist told them that the scar required a few final touches. Instead, the makeup artist wiped the scar off their face. Participants left the room thinking they were still wearing the makeup. They overwhelmingly reported back that people stared at their scars and were mean and rude to them. Lunulae are the half-moon circles that appear at the base of your fingernails, most notably on the thumbs. They sometimes provide clues to medical conditions. For example, their absence may be an indication of a vitamin B12 deficiency. A bluish tint could suggest Wilson's disease, a rare inherited genetic disorder in which copper accumulates in the liver, brain, and other organs. Red may indicate heart failure. In patients with severe kidney disease, it's not uncommon to see half and half nails, where the white from the lunula extends halfway up the nail bed and the other half is darker in color. Don't self-diagnose. Go to a doctor if you're concerned. Mucus is constantly made by the body to line parts of the lungs where it catches harmful particles before they go too deep. When you're healthy, tiny hair-like cilia move the mucus up and out, sliding back down the throat without you noticing. But when you're sick, the mucus is harder to move and requires aid, such as coughing. I don't know why, but I hate this fact so much. I think it's the sliding down your throat without noticing. Endometriosis can sometimes be found elsewhere in the body. The cells are capable of migration to extrapelvic organs, including the lungs, spleen, livers, and brain. Symptoms of cerebral endometriosis may overlap with known symptoms and can be characterized by headaches and seizures. It is extremely rare, with only 3 cases reported in scientific literature. Fallopian tubes are part of the female reproductive system and are responsible for carrying eggs from the ovaries to the uterus. There are 2 fallopian tubes, one on either side of the uterus. However, they aren't fixed in place. That's probably where wandering womb came from. So if one tube is missing, the other can travel to the opposite side to pick up the egg from there. Denmark's Happiness Research Institute wanted to know what would happen if people quit Facebook for a week, so they conducted an experiment that involved almost 1,100 people. Prior to the experiment, volunteers were asked to rate their lives on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the happiness. The no Facebook group increased from an average of 7.75 out of 10 to 8.12 out of 10, while the group that kept using Facebook decreased from 7.67 out of 10 to 7.56. The researchers also found that frequent Facebook users were more likely to feel angry, 20% versus 12%, depressed, 33% versus 22%, and worried, 54% versus 41%. The Mythbusters saved lives. In 2007, Teresa Booth and her baby came close to drowning in her car. Then she remembered an episode of the Mythbusters and waited for the pressure inside to be equalized before opening the car door and getting out and turning to safety. Unrelated, but they also proved that your toilet seat is probably cleaner than your keyboard and your kitchen sponge.